It's 4 o'clock in Los Angeles, 6 o'clock in Chicago, the Windy City, and it's 7 p.m. here in the Big Apple. Hello, everybody. This is Mad Dog DeCipio, joined as I am each and every week by the mouth of the South herself, Amelia Pitbull Chapman, and tonight on the record with film director Glenn Martin. Glenn, how are you, young man?
I'm doing good.
We have one hell of a show tonight. He promised an all-star cast. Well, I will tell you, Glenn Martin did deliver. I will introduce our guests one by one tonight, and then we'll get into the man of the hour. How about that? All the way from the Netherlands, one of my favorite actors. He can do pretty much everything, this guy. Michael Pere is the star of both Eddie and the Cruiser films, Streets of Fire, The Philadelphia Experiment, my favorite aviation film, Mayday. I love that movie. The Virgin Suicides, and his new film, Wrongful Death. Michael, welcome to What's the Buzz?
Hey, good to see you, Mad Dog. It's been a long time. Good to see
everybody.
on your show.
I'll tell everybody for the record, and you can check it out yourself. I actually had a little part in Eddie and the Cruisers, the first one. There's a scene at the Tony Mart where I'm dancing a part of a conga line. I'm person number 2 in the conga line. Uncredited, of course.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought I recalled you in the scroll.
Right. Beverly Randolph is with us. Beverly is the star of Best Known for Return of the Living Dead and Freaks of Nature. She also starred in Death House and Glenn Martin's new film, The Searching. Beverly, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
I am anxious to talk to you later on about this strange dichotomy called Sacred Grounds Forbidden. Where did it go? Why do I see it, but I don't see it?
Well, we're getting there.
I'll talk to you later about that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Jennifer Banco.
Aloha.
Hello, Jen. How are you, kid?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm wonderful. Let me tell everybody about Jen. Jen is best known for Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, and Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a film near and dear to the Pitbull's heart. I think it took place in her backyard as well. Am I right about that, Pitbull?
Yeah, it's in Texas, yes. I'm from West Texas area. Mm-hmm.
All right. Brian Saponis. Brian is here. He's an imposing, good-looking figure. I'm almost intimidated to introduce him. Brian has 2 upcoming films, Cabrini and Wolf Hollow. He is also, I believe they made you an honorary member of the South Jersey Horror Podcast.
Yeah.
So look, you're in good company, brother.
There
You're
you go.
Good company. We're going to talk about why Glenn Martin likes to typecast you as mean, imposing, hairy Bigfoot Sasquatches.
I have no idea.
We're going to find out. And of course, our guest of honor, Mr. Glenn Martin.
Yeah.
Glenn, my friend Glenn. There he is. Hot damn. Yeah. Glenn, let me tell a little bit about Glenn Martin here, and we'll talk to everybody. We got a lot to cover tonight. It's going to be a really good show. Glenn Martin has achieved cult status with such films as Camp Out, Cemeteries, Curse of the Hanging Judge, When Night Comes, The Searching, and In the Shadows. He's my special guest, and joining him tonight is the principal cast of his latest 2 films. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Glenn Martin. How are you, my friend?
Good. How you guys doing out there?
Good to see you, Glenn.
Yeah, always good to see you guys.
One of the things that and I should tell everybody in the interest of full disclosure, Glenn and I have known each other for a couple of weeks, but I feel like I've known him for years.
Yeah.
Some people just connect, and we connected right off the bat. You've been around this business a long time, but interestingly enough, you're a relative newbie to filmmaking. Tell everybody a little bit about your background. Who is Glenn Martin, and where did you come from?
Well, it all started back in 1984. They did a movie, a comedy. It had Kelly Preston, that's John Travolta's John Travolta's wife.
Sure.
Doug McKeon, he was on the Golden Pond with Henry Fonda.
Yep.
And the actress takes the lead.
Is it me or are you breaking up there, Glenn?
Oh,
I can't
really?
hear him either.
There you go.
There we go. But hey, is that Bob? There's Bob.
That's Bob Romanis is with us.
Hello.
Let me,
Say, Bob.
Glenn, I'm
Hey,
going
guys.
to interrupt you for just a moment,
Sure.
Glenn. We've got another cast member. Ladies and gentlemen, making his way into the ring is Robert Bob Romanis, best known as the dapper, cool talking Mike Damone, from the cult classic, and it really is cult status, this film, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That plus an additional 90 films to his credit. He is an actor, acting coach. He is also an individual and group coach as well. He sings, he writes music, he plays. A multifaceted individual. Bob, welcome to the show. I'm the Mad Dog, and it's great to have you on What's the Buzz?
Well, thank you. Hi, everybody.
See you, Bob.
Yeah.
All right,
Our
let me-
coffee connoisseur.
What?
Bob is our coffee connoisseur.
Oh, yeah.
Expert.
How are you?
Mm-hmm.
Brother, one of our sponsors is a coffee company. I want to turn you on to them. Two Rivers Coffee.
Oh, well, I'd love to try that.
Yep, we'll send you a box out. Amelia,
Mm-hmm.
take note of that.
Yes.
Send the box of Two Rivers to Bob Romanis.
Absolutely.
All right.
Perfect.
You're looking pretty dapper there, young man. I got to bring the boss back in here because I cut him off while he was talking.
Oh, no. Let Bob go.
So let me bring him back up here. All right, go ahead, Glenn.
So anyway, Bob, actually through my friend Chris, that's how I got Bob into my movies. Chris Nash, Bob.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
Years went by. I went into the military. I was in the Navy for 4 years out in L.A. And me and Chris started writing some stuff. And actually one of them is the Bigfoot Camp Out. And one thing led to another. A few years later, I started getting things together, and we filmed When Night Comes. It was just a little thing I did, and it wasn't nothing major or big. And then we got together, and this is really funny. Zach Galligan and me and him were friends on Facebook. And you guys remember Candy Crush?
Yes, I do.
Well, me and Zach was like battling against each other, going against levels, and I just asked him one day if he wanted to read the script, and he did. Loved it, joined, and then Chris was in a movie called The Wraith.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember The Wraith.
Oh, sure.
And his friends in that was Dave Sherrill and James Bosian. They played like the little goofball guys in The Wraith. One drank the motor oil and things like that. And Bosian was the other little sidekick. And so they jumped on board. And then James Bosian calls Clint Howard. Clint Howard jumps on board. Then that's how
God
we got
bless you. Clint Howard.
I love Clint.
I've
I
had
worked
some
with him a few times.
I've had some experiences with Clint. He's an unusual character. He's a unique individual. I think he's a great, talented individual, but he's a little quirky.
Yes.
Michael, would you say that, Michael?
Yeah, well, I've worked with him about 3 or 4 times, and he's an amazing talent, and you got to realize he's like 3rd generation, Hollywood icon.
Yeah.
His father did his last job. I think he was 98.
Wow.
Yeah. He sure
appeared
was.
in his last movie when he was 98 years old. He's like Clint Eastwood, and Ron Howard and Clint Howard and Gentle Ben. I mean, Clint,
sure.
and he had a punk band that was very successful for a while.
Isn't that interesting? I did.
Yeah.
That's something I never knew.
I didn't realize he was on television when he was 4 years old.
Well, I got you up here, Michael. Let me ask you. We're going to tie it right into what Glenn was talking about. How did you find yourself in this project, the searching, in the shadows? Where did this meet you?
Glenn reached out to me on Facebook, and he sent me his script, Cemeteries, and we were spending a lot of time trying to get that movie put together, which is now in pre-production. And then he said, in the meantime, I've got this other story. And he sent that to me, which was a Sasquatch movie.
Sure.
And he said, and we also are about to shoot this other movie, which is the one that where I met Bob, because we shot that one first. So I guess I've known Glenn maybe three years.
Well, that's almost 4 years now. Yeah.
Right, it's 2024.
Yeah.
I want to bring
Yeah,
Bob
Facebook
right into
is
this.
like Facebook has opened up, actors to the people who actually make the films. They're
Well,
cutting out the
you know
agents
what,
and
Michael,
managers.
Let's talk about that a little bit, Michael. It used to be where you couldn't even get to an actor or an artist without management approval or some kind of a green light from a studio. Now it's almost as if the middleman has been taken away, and you have access to an entirely different range of people, of independent directors, as well as the proverbial studios. So, how did it work for you? Was it a benefit to you to work outside of the studio system?
Well, it's just new. It's just new that you get right in touch with the actual filmmakers. And is it a benefit? Yeah, because I have a little more control of my career now. There's a lot of projects that come across an agent's desk, and they give it to who they want instead of who might be right. Anyway, I still have an agent and manager, and they kind of let me go on these independent projects. And independent film is, it's just you're cutting out the bureaucracy, and the people who make decisions aren't always right. I mean, look at some of the best movies that are coming out were made by independents, but of course the studios have. If you have $200 million, it's hard to fuck up a movie with $200 million. But it's happened. It's happened.
For sure.
So it's like when they went from film to digital, that's where it changed. And then when streaming came in suddenly, and now with an iPhone, I just did a test film for the people who invented the Avid, and they have an app that you can go on the iPhone 14 or 15, whatever the fuck it is, and they can do all of the special effects. It's like being in a LED stage with your iPhone.
Wow.
Absolutely remarkable.
These people come out of film school, or they come into the film industry, and all they need is an iPhone and $2,000 worth of lighting equipment, and they can make movies like they made in the 50s.
It's a scary thought. I'll tell you what. Let me bring Bob Romanis in here. Bob, you are tying right into what Michael was talking about. You're a product of the studio system. Fast Times at Ridgemont High was a pretty big budget picture.
It was a very low budget picture from Universal. It was on their low end.
Was it really?
I think it was $5 million.
Now let's talk about that, because it came across like a big budget film. You would think. I want people to understand something, though. You were the lead in that film with people like Sean Penn, Judge Reinhold, Phoebe Cates, and the list goes on and on. So let's talk about that. How did you end up securing the lead in this picture?
In Fast Times?
Yeah.
I auditioned for it 7 times.
Wow.
Over 7 weeks. And I would go in like on a Monday. The first time I read for it, Amy Heckerling looked at me, the director, and she said, "Don't cut your hair." And so I thought, wow, great. I got a chance. But then I didn't hear anything for a week, and I thought, okay, well, I didn't get it. And then I got a call, they want to see you. So I went back in, and this was over 7 weeks. They kept calling me back in. I ended up doing improvs. I ended up doing every scene in the script. I ended up going to makeup and wardrobe and coming back and doing it. And in the 7th meeting, I looked at Art Lentz and I said, I really like this part, and I really think I could do a nice job. but I'm not going to come back for you again. And right there, he said, okay, welcome aboard.
Wow.
After
Wow.
7 weeks.
You had to put your foot down.
Well, you know, it's very emotional. You know,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
you got a nice lead in a movie, and then all of a sudden you don't hear anything, and then you hear something, and then you don't hear anything, and it's like a real roller coaster. And it's like, keep your fucking part or give it to me.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. Well, let's
Yeah,
talk about that a little bit. In the introduction, I mentioned that you teach both individual and group acting classes.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah, and so there's a great deal of emotion involved in that. How do you convey to a new actor who may not be particularly outgoing or able to reach that depth with them to pull out emotion when needed in a scene?
Gosh, well,
What a simple question, huh?
yeah. I guess it's practice. You know, it just is practice. It's you know, it's like if you keep doing it, you keep getting closer to it and deeper. And the older I get, the easier it is for me to go to those places. When I was younger, it was very hard to go to some emotional places. But
yeah,
you know, I mean, I don't know how you get there, really.
Yeah.
You know, just
Interesting stuff. I want to bring in Beverly. Beverly is patiently waiting away, and I promise I'll get to you too as well, Brian and Jen. So don't go anywhere. Stay with me here. All right. One of my favorite screen queens. She's still got it, baby. She's still got it. Beverly, talk to me a little bit about working with my late friend Clu Gulliger.
Aw, that's something. He was wonderful. All the men on that shoot were wonderful. All the older gentlemen, James Karen and Don Calfa and Clu, they were fine gents. Getting their makeup on, they were a bit naughty.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Jim Karen had a kind of a naughty sense of humor.
Yeah, he was the troublemaker in the makeup room.
Oh,
one time he has a great wife. Well, he's passed away, but he has a great wife. And one time they had a thing, and she caught him flirting, and she took her martini and just dumped it on his head, and he just sat there and laughed his head off. He thought it was so funny.
I love it.
Yeah.
So how did you get hooked up with Glenn Martin, and how much did he have to bribe you to jump you on board here?
You know what? It's so funny. It's the same story. Facebook. We became friends on Facebook. And
it seems to be a recurring theme, isn't it?
Yeah.
Facebook.
Because you know what though? It's like you spend somewhat of a deep. Well, I don't much anymore because I've been busy, but you kind of spend a lot of time visiting with your friends on Facebook. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? And it just kind of snowballed. And then someone say, hey, I'm sending you a message. And I don't like the messages, but okay, yeah. Can I send you a script? And it's like, yeah, okay, sure. And, here's my email. So it was like that. It happened that way. We do get a lot of offers on Facebook. Some crazy stuff comes up, and you can kind of feel of whether it's baloney or not,
Oh, sure.
Like Glenn was here when he showed up with a script that came to my email. I'm like, wow, okay, this is really good. And he goes, hey, we're going to shoot here. We're going to do this, and you're going to do this. And it's like, oh, okay. He just grabbed that bell and rang it hard. Okay.
I'm so blessed to have two of my favorite screamers on the show tonight. Jennifer, you're up.
I shouldn't do that. Sorry, you guys.
Kid. Let's talk about. Well, first of all, let's talk about. I want to bring up here. I'm gonna get Jen's bio here. Here's Jen's bio. Hot damn! Friday the 13th. How did you find your way into the New Blood?
I auditioned. It was actually the very first movie that I ever auditioned for, and I was the last person in on the final callback. So I looked at my mom and I was like, okay, this can go one of two ways.
Yeah.
Either I'm going to go in and they're going to be so freaking tired from auditioning all day long that they're not even going to remember me. Or I'm going to go in and they're going to be like, this is what we were waiting for. So
Wow.
I was 10 years old and I took my moment. I asked for my moment. I said, excuse me, can I have a moment? And I walked away from the directors and the producers and I faced the wall and I got all my emotions ready and I started to cry. And then I turned back around and I started my scene and I got him. I had him by the balls.
So
10 years
for
old.
you, it's interesting. We just heard Bob Romanes talk about going back 7 times to audition for the same part. Why do you think? What was it about you? Was it you think your youth, your young age at the time? Was it, did inexperience, is what I'm saying, did inexperience work in your favor?
I think it was like my maturity actually as a child. We were on we were going on location.
Mhm.
It was going to be extreme weather, extreme circumstances,
Right.
and so I really seriously believe that first moment that I took to show my maturity in my vulnerability is probably what
It's
like,
interesting.
Okay, this
I
girl
like
can
the way
handle
you.
being in the middle of a river, floating downstream. She'll be
I
okay
love
with
the way
this.
you answered that because I never said anything about maturity. I said experience.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how we correlate the two?
I had no experience. I was 10. It was my first audition.
How about
I had
that?
maturity.
Remarkable.
Wow.
So in that case, it actually worked in your benefit.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I could be making this all up.
No, listen, if I say it worked for you, you go with it.
That's great.
Brian, Bigfoot himself. Let's talk, brother.
Yes, sir.
You got a couple of films in the works. You've got Cabrini, which is are we finished or are we still in production?
No, we shot that back in 21. That's actually scheduled to release in March. So.
Okay, and I knew it was going to be close.
Yeah.
Wolf Hollow. Talk to me about Wolf Hollow.
That was a film that actually is released. That's out. You can get that out on Amazon Prime, on iTunes, wherever. We got that distributed. The big one we got coming up is Grind. That's the big one coming up this year. We're in the process of raising funds for that, and that's going to be one hell of a ride. But,
yeah, we'll be talking a little bit more about that on January the 22nd. I want to tell everybody that Brian Saponis will be my guest for the entire show on January 22nd, as I hope will each individual member of this ensemble. I'm inviting everyone back.
Yes, please.
To be on your own show, because I want to talk to everybody. Well, I will tell you, one of the things that kind of wrenched my gut is that I wish, and Glenn, I have a bone to pick with you, my friend.
All right.
Look at this man. He's tall, he's handsome, he's dashing looking. You're going to put him in a fucking costume?
Oh no, in
a hairy costume.
In the shadows, he plays the father of the killer in the future.
I do.
Okay.
So yeah, I actually get out of costume. But the funny thing is, Mad Dog, like Jennifer was saying, her maturity got her the role and her talent, and Bob was saying 7 times. See, mine comes out. It's real easy. Mine was height. I got the role because of my height.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But you're a big actor, man.
Yeah.
Well, you're like 6'6", 6'7".
I'm 6'5", so
I knew you were up, but I thought you were like 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah, 6'5". But it was Facebook wasn't the issue in this one. I actually got it through networking, which is another big component of this industry is networking.
Well, I have a question for you, Brian.
Yeah.
What are the advantages to not being seen? How do you make it work for you? I mean, after all, let's be honest, you're an actor and you want your acting chops to come through, but yet you have the disadvantage of not being able to physically emote. They can't see your face. How do you work it?
You're still doing a ton of acting, even in the suit. I know, Glenn, there's one scene where Bigfoot is kind of like growling at the people he's chasing, and you got to you got to bring that emotion even in the suit, even more so through the suit, because you got to see what you're doing through the suit that you're working with. So I think regardless of the fact I'm seen physically as me or in costume, there's still a ton of acting between the physicality that I'm doing, making things believable in terms of how I'm moving, all kind of things that definitely go into the acting of that. So
yeah. Bob Romanis, let's bring it back up here. Let me talk to you a little bit. Bob, you are very reminiscent to me of an actor named Donald Pleasance. And I wanted to find out if in this particular film, did you draw upon the Donald Pleasance character in any way, shape, or form to create this psychiatrist?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Mad Dog. I never saw the movie. It's Friday the 13th. What's the movie you're talking about? Friday the 13th?
Halloween.
Oh,
yeah, Halloween. Yeah.
I never saw
Michael Myers.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Horror movies scare me.
They're supposed to.
That's great, Bob.
I got eaten by a monster one time too. It was a ball. I had a great time, but I really don't watch them because I get nightmares, kind of,
It's eerie. The portrayal is eerily similar to Donald Pleasance's character, Dr. Loomis, in Halloween. It's Glenn and I actually spoke privately about that. Did we not, Glenn?
Yes.
I said because I told Glenn I'm going to ask Bob when he comes on.
Well, I had Michael kind of hold his hand for him so he didn't get too scared of Brian whenever he came in the room. So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Against my better judgment, folks, the pit bull is up to bat. Amelia,
so mean, isn't he?
So you, kid.
Beverly, I had a question for you. I see that you were a licensed pilot. Is that correct?
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
What got you to get your license to be a pilot?
I'm sorry?
What got you to get your license to be a pilot?
Well, it's a funny story. We were living in Wisconsin, and it was in the summertime, and planes of course fly over every now and then, and we lived on a lake, and planes would fly over the lake and sometimes even land in the lake. I thought, oh my goodness, this is really something. I look at these people doing whatever they want, going wherever they want. And I always just thought it was an incredible thing. And then on my birthday, my husband says, get out of the water. We're going somewhere. And I was like, okay. And I looked like a mess, and we drove for like 45 minutes, and he pulled up to an airport and he said, guess what? You're going to go in and have a flying lesson. And I started crying. I'm like, what? How could you do this to me? No, I don't want to do that. Are you crazy? And he says, oh, okay, I'll go tell him that you don't want to do this. And I'm like, no, wait. And so I went in and got in the plane, and he got in the back seat, and we flew around for an hour. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. It's everything I thought it would be. And so I started taking lessons right then and there. The next week I was there like once, twice a week, and then finally got my license. But I love it. It's incredible.
That's fantastic. I was like a girl pilot. I love that.
Yeah. You know what? It's easier than driving.
Is it really?
Easier than driving. You can't hit anything.
The ground.
Yeah,
The ground.
That's not true. There's some things that are more complex,
There's
and
no fender benders in
there's
the
no
air. Right?
fender benders. Although I did have a close one with what are those, like a C the big cargo, it's a C what are those
C-130.
Yes, big little pucker thing.
Oh,
And I was taking off, and one was coming. It was behind me, and it was landing, and I was on the runway. And the control tower said, "Beverly, get off the runway, get off the runway," because when they land, the force that comes out from behind the plane would have just blown over my little C-174.
Oh my goodness.
And one time, I took I was doing my solos. And so I flew into military airspace. And of all places. And so next thing you know, I've got these little fighter jets coming around me. And they go, you're not supposed to be here. And the other guy goes, it's okay, I'll get her out. He goes, follow me. And it's like these big, planes. Anyway, it was very fun. It was very cool. It was a big mistake on my part. And but I didn't get any trouble. They were really nice about it. So I had a lot of experiences flying, a lot of crazy times, but it's incredible. It's when you first land for the first time at night and you can turn on the lights to the airport from your plane is incredible. It's like you hit the buttons and you turn on and there's your runway. And it's just one time our wings froze over, which was very frightening. It's a huge no-no. And because your plane goes down. But that was also in Wisconsin. So I landed in a cornfield one time with, it was, anyway, I'll stop. But
I'm glad I love the ground.
Obviously a passion.
Continue, Amelia. You're still up.
Oh, that's funny. Love that. And also I was going to say, Robert Menace, you said that you're a coffee connoisseur. You also had your own cafe.
I had a coffee shop here in Los Angeles for about 2 years. And I got rid of it finally because it's a nickel business with dollar problems,
right.
Absolutely.
But I had a great time because I had entertainment 6 nights a week, and I got to meet a lot of great musicians and comedians, and that was a great time. The business end of it was, I probably gave away more coffee than I sold.
Oh my goodness.
Robert, is music therapeutic for you to write, to perform?
Oh, absolutely.
Is there a level of therapy for you?
Music, I've been playing music since I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I always go to. I can always tell when I'm feeling good because I'm listening to music or playing music. If I feel a little down or something, I'm usually listening to the news. You know what I mean? So music is a way of really kind of making me feel good. And I love the process of writing and recording.
What's your go-to music? What type of genre is your go-to?
Well, I like all kinds of music. Gosh, I would say probably guys like Van Morrison and J.J. Cale, and I'd say kind of acoustic, kind of rock stuff.
Oh, beautiful.
My band is called Papa's Kitchen. You can look it up on the internet.
Fabulous.
Be all kinds. We have like 10 CDs out there, so
wow!
What kind of music we write?
Oh, we're definitely going to promote that for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
You got to hear his music. His songs are wonderful, wonderful. What's the one? Is it Table for One or Table for Two?
Table for One, yeah.
Oh, I love that. It's beautiful, beautiful song.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, folks. We are brought to you tonight by A24 Films, the producers of the worldwide smash, The Iron Claw. Let's take a look at the trailer for that film, and we'll be right back.
Ever since I was a child, people said my family was cursed. Mom tried to protect us with God. Pop tried to protect us with wrestling. He said if we were the toughest, the strongest, nothing could ever hurt us. I believed him. We all did.
Morning. Pants tomorrow, please, David.
Perry, I want you to join your brothers in the ring.
Yes, sir. I love that. Woo!
Now, we all know Kerry's my favorite, then Kev, then David, then Mike. But the rankings can always change.
What do you want in life, Kevin Von Erich?
More ribs? I want to be with my family. Be with my brothers.
What do you like to do with your brothers?
Together, we can do anything.
We're here to restore justice to the Wrestling Federation that our father built with his own 2 hands. The hands that will pass down to us. The hands that will deliver the Iron Claw to you. So what do you think? Like we're alive.
I love your family, Kevin.
gonna be an uncle?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, that makes me so happy.
Can I talk to you about something more? Dad's too tough on us. You gotta say something.
Baby, that's what your brothers are for.
Feel that? You feel that? That's pressure.
You push it too hard.
I'm fine, kid. Seriously, I'm just sick.
I'm scared, man. It all out of control.
Terrible accident.
I should have stopped him. I need to think about my family.
Your job is to wrestle.
Live up to that deal or we are through.
I told you to look out for him!
I just love being out there with you guys. It's the only thing that matters to me.
The Bonner will forever be the greatest family in the history of wrestling.
And I saw that film. It's a hell of a film.
That looks great.
That looks really
That
good.
was fantastic. But Glenn, I'm sorry, dude. It's fucking 1:30 in the morning. I gotta bounce.
Yeah, I figured
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'll tell you
Good to
what,
see
Michael.
all. I'll come back. Okay.
I'll tell you what. I am going to send you a personal invitation. I want to do a show just with you.
Yes.
You got it.
Okay.
When
And
I'm
I
in LA,
promise
it
it'll
won't be so difficult.
No, I promise it'll be during the daylight.
Good idea.
For sure.
All right, Gil. Good to see you all. Bob, Chang.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a
Beverly,
pleasure.
have a good night.
Thanks
All
so
right,
much.
Love
Michael.
you.
Take care,
Nice
my
to
friend.
see you,
It was a
Michael.
pleasure to meet you.
Bye.
Likewise.
All right. Let's get back to that. I'll tell you what. God bless him. It's 1 o'clock in the morning where Michael was in the Netherlands, and bless his heart for staying up. And thank everybody. Thank you for being with us tonight. We are approaching, let's see, our first commercial break. But you know what? We're going. You know, Amelia, we're going to. I think we're going to bypass our commercials tonight.
Sure, why not?
Why not? Why the hell not?
Oh,
Our
that's a cute little
sponsors love
dog,
it.
Jennifer.
What I wanted. Oh,
He's my
doggy.
emotional support pet.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Hold on. Doggies.
This is Rocco.
What kind of puppy you got there, kiddo?
Well, now he doesn't want to be a part of it. It's when nobody's watching, right?
He's camera shy, right? All
He
of a sudden. That's funny. Cute dog. What kind of dog is that, Jen?
He's a Jack Russell Terrier.
Oh, Jack
He's
Russell. Okay.
he's 100% good boy. I don't know if you've ever heard of that breed.
Oh,
No, and Amelia, you know anything? But you don't know.
No, mine are
100% good boy.
No, that's a new one. I'll tell you what. I want to bring Glenn. Glenn, you are the man of the hour. Let's get down to the nitty gritty here. You're a film director. You've done a lot in the business. Relatively new to film. When a script approaches you, or someone has an idea off the cuff, do you take everything seriously, or do you instinctively know what's going to work and how it's going to look? A lot of directors have that quirky gift that they can see things in CinemaScope.
Well, the first thing that you got to keep in mind, everybody has an idea. So when you're on the set, you're hearing this, hearing that. So you just kind of grapple it and say, listen, just do your job. I'll do my job. Somebody else will do their job. But I got the benefit of having guys like this. These guys are all veteran actors, and I don't have to really tell them much because we talk a lot.
Sure.
And this and that, and they'll come up with an idea. Bob comes up with some great stuff all the time, and then I think Bob and Beverly just got along so well in the Bigfoot movie, The Search, and they just knocked it out of the park. And it helps when you got a Bigfoot that actually looks like a Bigfoot too, and Brian there. And
can I ask you a question right there? Because it's an interesting genre, the Bigfoot genre, the cryptozoological genre. Is the market oversaturated with that kind of product? Bigfoot, creatures that go bump in the night, the Jersey Devil, Mothman, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff out there, Glenn.
Well, here's the thing: is it seems like everybody just keeps doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's just a different story. I was trying to take a different approach. I wanted to show the Bigfoot side of the story. Mm-hmm. I just didn't want to do it. He didn't go out killing people and stuff. He had reasons why.
Yeah.
And when we first did this, it was called Sacred Grounds. And we had to come back and film some more stuff, but we was going to go ahead and there's a part in this movie where we got the Native American side of the story. And so we have an actor telling, he's playing a Native American modern day.
Mm-hmm.
And he's telling the story about what was back in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
And Indians, for example, would not go into their sacred grounds.
Right.
Bigfoots. They stayed away from them. They gave
Sure.
them respect. So we came up with the idea at a meeting, me, Beverly, her husband, Clayton, and we came up, and Bob. And Bob says, why don't we have the opening of the movie basically like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, where the guy's telling the story.
Interesting.
I was like, wow, that's a great idea, Bob. And then I said, why don't we just bring it to life?
Yeah. Great. Well, let me ask you a question along that line. You mentioned the Native American folklore in the background. Did you approach the Native American community, and were they supportive of the idea?
No, we didn't get that far, because what happened was, well, poor Beverly went to a horror con or something and ate some bad fish.
Well, they're not sure. Yeah, what went wrong? But I was in the hospital for a bit. Yeah, I was sick.
So we had to postpone it. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to get Michael Pere, Robert Romanus, Jennifer Banco, and we're going to make this Bigfoot movie, which was now called The Searching. It was Sacred Grounds, and I'm going to make the title of that movie The Searching, and we're going to go on a different angle. I'm going to do Sacred Grounds on a standalone Western. So it's cowboys, Indians, and Sasquatches. So we're going to hopefully be doing that here springtime, somewhere in that area.
Beautiful.
And we're going to have a lot of good actors.
Well, I'll tell you what, Glenn, you got a hell of a cast here. It's a hell of an ensemble cast. I'll be honest with you. Be very honest with you. But, you know, any cast costs money. You have to spend money to get good people.
Exactly.
I'm imagining you probably wiped out your savings account. You probably emptied out the bank.
I had an investor that wiped out his. No.
Talk to me. Let's talk a little bit about finance. Independent film finance. And it's no secret. It's no secret that anybody that's made an independent film, it's hard to get funding. It's much easier to get a $200 million budget than it is to get a $2 million budget.
Well,
and that's just the sad truth of filmmaking.
And that's exactly, because I'm telling you, there's some movie people out there can make a $25,000 movie and become a success and make millions of dollars. That's luck. Believe me, it's not that easy. When you don't have a lot of money to work with, it's time restraints. It's like, we only got 8 hours today, guys, because we can't come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
We can't go too much further above, because then actors get tired and they're getting cranky with the crew. So it's best if you can get a good, strong budget and work for 3 weeks instead of trying to cram in 1 week in a 3-week process.
Well, Robert, let me ask you a question. You've worked under various constraints, both financially and time-wise. Is there a benefit to working under these financial constraints? Does it pull your creativity to the surface, or you have to work a different way to achieve $1 million budget look?
Well, it's easy to throw money at something to fix it. When you're working on these little budgets, you have to be creative.
Yes.
You don't have the money, your time, and so you get creative. What's that saying? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
Right?
And so, poverty is his father.
And when you don't have any money, you just have to figure out how you're going to get through it. You don't have a big, a big dolly, or you don't have that kit, but you have a little hand truck.
Yeah.
So you strap the camera guy onto the hand truck and you drag him across the floor, and that's being creative. with a tracking shot because you don't